Thank you, Healthy Seminars. Yeah, very excited about this one. I wasn't sure what Healthy Seminars would think about this topic, not because Lorne and everyone there aren't interested in considering different types of topics. I guess I wasn't sure if it would generate a big enough crowd because of its specific nature. I hoped that it would. So I'm really pleased that A, Healthy Seminars agreed to run it, and B, that you're all here allowing that opportunity. So it's something that's certainly been of interest to me over the years. A family member has IBS, and it's been really interesting watching that progression through Western medical framework, because he's not been particularly keen to explore other options, whether it be, say, naturopathy, dietetics, acupuncture, any of those types of things. So watching him navigate that sort of Western medicine approach has been, I guess, good, but also me in my brain going, well, I know, or I believe that Chinese medicine has something better to offer, but you can only, I guess, what's the cliche? You can only take a horse to water, you can't make it drink. So it's been somewhat aggravating, I guess, to some degree, that they're not willing to, I guess, try out Chinese medicine. My wife had a friend's husband that was diagnosed with Crohn's, and he also was not interested in exploring Chinese medicine. Thankfully, over the years, there's been that opportunity to treat patients and see positive results. Granted, not always the results that I guess they were hoping for. There's been a range of issues around that. Often it's about consistency of attending enough treatments. A lot of patients, I'm sure if you've had clinical experience over the years, patients tend to kind of reach a point where they think this is enough treatments, and then they stop coming, even if you didn't get all the way to a result that I guess you were hoping for as a practitioner and they were hoping for as a patient as well. So yeah, we're going to progress through these three. We will start with a more simplified approach to treatment, and it will get more complicated towards the end of the workshop today. For those that have been at my previous workshops, you will see a similar theme with this one too, but with all three of these conditions, it's actually unlikely that you're going to have just one organ that's actually diseased or diseased. There's multiple. So to try to narrow it down to just one organ diagnosis is not really the best approach. So you will get more complicated treatments later because they're more complicated conditions. So all I ask is that if when you go through it, you are a little bit confused, please go back and look at it again. And if you're still confused, please email me. My email's at the bottom of every single slide, and we can discuss what you're having trouble with in terms of understanding. All right, that being said, let's get started. So I always like starting off with a quote, and this is about the stomach/spleen and pancreas in a Chinese medicine perspective. So the stomach conducts semi-transformed food into the intestines for further assimilation, which is influenced by the strength of the spleen or pancreas. As you may recall, in Chinese medicine, there's no real reference to the pancreas throughout the centuries. The closest we have with that is that the spleen and pancreas are one and the same, essentially. The contemporary term spleen pancreas strength quite possibly translates as the quality and quantity of the pancreatic enzymes which are secreted into the small intestine. Thus, for most problems of the small intestine, one can work with dietary principles that improve the spleen and pancreas. But that was quite a good little quote because it'll give you, I guess, a greater understanding of this next 2 hours, because the spleen is involved a lot in treating IBS, ulcerative colitis, and Crohn's. For those that have not attended this series or were not even aware it was a series, we have a number of other workshops as part of this course, which you can purchase from Healthy Seminars. We'll talk about that more at the end. And we've got one more, as Lorianne mentioned, on Feb 2 on heartburn, GERD, and nausea. It's got a few extra things in it as well, apart from just those 3 conditions, but we'll talk more about that later. So obviously today, IBS, ulcerative colitis, and Crohn's. Lorianne also touched on the fact that there's some bonus notes on dysentery and edema, and that's our Aussie English edema, as opposed to American edema, not having the O there. But what it is a few years ago, I was asked by a college that doesn't exist anymore to write diagnostics and discussions on a range of different disorders. And because the college has closed down, there is no requirement for me to keep that exclusive to the college. So you will see in those notes a discussion about how dysentery looks in Chinese medicine, treatment protocols, including acupuncture, herbs, dietary advice, that sort of thing, and the same for edema as well. So I guess it's kind of like a thank you gift from myself to you for attending the workshop. The themes we will be discussing within each of the disorders, we'll be looking at treatments that you can take away and put in your clinic immediately. They will be within, obviously, those 3 disorders. We'll look at different organs. If there's any emotional connection, say with IBS, there is some emotional connection. There's some stuff on dietetics and some herbal formulas, but not in really thorough detail. And this is just telling you how those bonus slides on dysentery and edema will look, going through the signs and symptoms, treatment principles, etc., which we've touched on.